First of all, I'm just excited to be interviewing the Floyd Mayweather of real estate. Is how I feel right now. So,
I think I need to get some more muscles and stuff in order to be able to live up to that title.
but yeah, man. So, yeah, I've been in real estate for just over 4, maybe close to 5 years now. I started out in some other businesses. Some were good success, some were terrible failures, the typical entrepreneur journey, right? Ended up with a decent amount of capital and actually started out rehabbing before I really even knew what wholesaling was. I was buying off the MLS. Deals weren't going so great. So decided to try wholesaling and made that work. Been consistently doing deals, averaging about 3 a month. So yeah, I mean wholesaling's great. Um, Developed a lot of good buyer relationships. So the wholesaling side's going really, really well. Just wanted to kind of reach out to you and get some top level gems, I guess.
All right. So you bought off the MLS and that didn't work for you, huh?
Oh man. Well, I'll put it this way. I overpaid and overimproved. So, and I've had some conversations with some more successful flippers who've been doing it forever, and they told me that I either need to learn to underimprove or go with a higher ARV, flips, right? Just to give me more room to make a house pretty. Because I just, man, it just kills me. I know guys in my market, they do carpet, paint, some new light switches and make 40 grand. And to me, it's like, man, that's just, can I be proud of that? So I guess I struggle a little bit with that side of the business.
It really comes down to, do you want to make money or not, right? And
Yeah.
this is the hardest thing, because like for me, so if I went and flipped a house right now, if I took my wife to go pick out tile, right, I'd be like, all right, you need $2 square foot tile. She's like, but this one's pretty, right? And it's $20 a square foot. Like when we first started, we were flipping, and that's kind of what her mind went to. And I started saying, hey, here's the thing. Yeah, $10 doesn't look like a lot, but when you need 1,000 square feet of it, then it's a lot. So there is that fine line between over improving and doing what you need to do to still get top dollar, because we always want it to look the best, right? Which is fantastic. Those are the houses that are going to sell really quick. But the hard lesson on flipping properties is your friends that are doing the paint and carpet, the new switches, they're probably making what you're making, because those houses are still selling for around that same price, because it all comes down to appraisals, right? If it doesn't appraise, you're probably going to lower your price. And you putting in a nicer countertop or a nicer cabinet or a more expensive tile, do you really think that's going to make that appraiser that knows nothing about it come in and appraise it higher? Probably not.
That's what caught me. My very first flip ever. I had it sold to a retail buyer at 122, and the appraisal came in at 90, and that's all we need to say. So it's that one just didn't go well, man. I'm talking, it was gorgeous, marble countertops in the bathroom, soft closed doors in the kitchen, like it was to the nines, right? But the appraiser just didn't care. So this most recent flip that we just completed, it's going really well. It looks like it's going to be a profitable deal for us. So finally got one to work, right? But yeah, just been mostly focusing on the wholesale side because it just seems to be a lot more successful. And I got a big sales background anyway, so that side's pretty easy for me.
Yeah. So let's talk about, 2020 just ended, right? So what did your wholesale business look like for 2020? Deal flow, income, stuff like that.
So I have a sister company and we kind of have like a unique setup, but me personally, 21 transactions successfully closed.
Okay.
So my sister company does a lot of flipping, a lot of creative finance, Pace Morby style. So yeah, so we do a lot of different stuff, but me, I'm kind of the acquisition company that fronts. And when I lock up a contract, they'll take a look at it and see if they want it. If not, we'll ship it to the buyers.
So are you, just so I understand the setup, are you part owner in that company?
No, so it's just a total sister company. Like I'm 100% owner of mine. Those partners are 100% owner of theirs. It's kind of like a silent partnership, handshake agreement. They cover some of the marketing and stuff like that. And I cover some of the operations. And so it kind of works out really well. We met in 2019 and they're like, hey, we're both pounding the same sellers. Why don't we just let us fund the marketing? You do the acquisitions, and we just do a lot of stuff together. So it turned out pretty cool.
How does it work as far as, do you get a profit share of the flips they do or anything like that?
Yeah, so every deal we kind of take it on a deal by deal basis because our ARVs are are all over the place down here. So it could be 100,000 ARV or it could be a 300,000 ARV. So like on wholesales, we'll split the wholesales if I lock them up based on their marketing. Obviously not if I lock them up based on my marketing or my efforts. I'll lock up deals for subject to. They pay me a fee up front for locking up a deal that's going to be a subject to. We did a lot of those last year. So it's just kind of like it's very case by case.
Okay, but on the ones they actually put construction into, flip to sale, are you getting a percentage of that, or are you
not on the back end? No, I'm basically making my fee on the front end. Essentially, what I do is I wholesale it to them. I lock it up and wholesale it to them.
Yeah. So obviously, I'm really digging in because I kind of just want to make sure I understand it all. So, playing devil's advocate on the other side, do you think that their funding of the marketing is bringing you in deals that you couldn't get on your own?
No, so, and I knew you were going to want to unpack that. And I'm glad you are, because I had a couple questions about I'm wanting to expand on my own into a secondary market. And so I had some questions about that. But yeah, no, I totally agree. I was doing some financials and looking at it and saying, well, in regards to the wholesale side, the market, I mean, I think it may actually, the relationship may have actually cost me some money. But I'm also looking, long term, because I do want to build a big flipping business, and I'm learning a lot from the guys. They've successfully flipped a lot of properties, so I'm learning a lot from these guys on the flipping side, the operations side. So there's some paying tuition, give and take in the relationship, and there's some great guys too.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying terminate that relationship, right? I don't know enough about it to say that. I guess what I'm kind of getting at it, if you're getting the training is one of those things to me that you can't put a value on, right? If you're getting the knowledge that's worth that to you, no one else can tell you otherwise. Because I mean, dude, I paid 50 grand for coaching when I started, right? So people look at me like you're nuts, but $50,000 got me almost, about a $5 million business this year. So would I make that exchange every day? Yes. But did my friends look at me like, dude, you're absolutely nuts? 100%, right? I'm wiring this money out to this guy and I'm like, I don't even know who he is. So that's the thing, is it's like, only you can know the value it brings. But my input on it is we're in a hot market throughout the entire US right now. And let's just say you lock up a deal at 80 grand, right? You sell it to them for 100. So you're making a $20,000 wholesale fee on it. I am going to venture to guess that if you would have had a buyer's list built, you may be able to go 10 grand more on your wholesale fee, because you're basically creating competition between those buyers. I think you're leaving a lot of money on the table just from the first look of this by going with those people. So you have to decide, let's say you did 21 deals last year, right? Let's just pretend like all 21 of those went to them, right? So if you could have gotten an additional $10,000 for each of those deals, you're looking at $210,000. So that's the stuff to look at. You got to say, was the value that you got from the people you partner with worth your pocket being emptied by $210,000? That's the question. And you don't have to answer that, right? But that's the question to ask yourself, because partnerships are fantastic on a lot of things. But there's a certain point where a partnership works to be successful at one point, but as your business shifts, it may not be. And that's the thing to look at. You have to say, is my knowledge worth $210,000 in 2020? If it was only worth 50, then you've got to decide, okay, how do I still continue to partner with these people without ruining the relationship, but also build my list to other people, because $210,000 is a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of things to look at with that. And I know you probably didn't want to talk about this thing the whole time, so we won't. But while something might look good at one point, it may not be the most fruitful area. So something to consider with 210 grand. Let's just say that all came in, you sold to other people. If you put 100,000 of that into your own marketing, do you think that by investing that 100,000 would have potentially brought you an additional 300,000?
Yeah, excellent point.
Yeah. So 210, right? Let's just call it 200 minus 100,000 into marketing. It brings you an additional 300. I mean, that's $400,000 in profit missed based off that, because we're always reinvesting in our business. So now don't go to these people and be like, Scott said cancel our deal. That's not what I'm saying. You have to decide the direction you want to go. It's your business. It's not mine. If it was mine, I would probably really thoroughly look at that partnership. And I don't think you're getting the return you think you're getting just based on numbers. So maybe you restructure, right? Maybe if they do flips, maybe in that case, you don't do a wholesale fee to them. They take the property, they flip it, and you get 50% of the flip.
Right.
So that would become more fruitful, because instead of a $10,000 or $15,000 wholesale fee, you might make 40.
Right.
Now, is that beneficial to them or not?
Right, for sure. So it just has to be weighed from both sides. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.